Okay, we should be good now. Hello to everyone coming in the room. Hello to everyone. I'm so excited. I can't even contain myself. So hello, guys. Hello. Welcome. Come on in. I'm just already getting goosebumps. Just so excited. I'm so excited about tonight. Hello to everyone. Wow. They are coming in droves. Wow.
Yes, I'm excited. And I see everyone is joining really quickly. Let's see what's happening in the chat. Hello, Artisha. Hey, Tanika. How are you? Sasha. Hey, everybody.
Come on in. This is my, okay, there we go. There we go. So that we were both. Tiffany, can you see us next to each other?
Yes, I can.
Side by side.
Side by side. Side by side. Who else is here? Hey, Amanda. Hey, Amandy. Let's see, Nicole. Hey, Renata, Jennifer. You all are joining very quickly. Hello to everyone who is joining. We're so excited to have you all. And we are ready.
Yes. So tell us where you're from. We're going to give it about, we're going to wait till 7:35. So tell us where you're from, where you're tuning in from, rep your city. We want to know. Oh, the DMV's in the house. Okay. New York City's a Cincinnati.
Yeah, listen, you all in South Carolina, Georgia, LA, Bronx, whoever is from the Bronx was so hyped to let us know she's from the Bronx. Hey, Delaware, all parts of New York. You're so excited about that. Hey, everybody. I'm so happy to see people literally from all over the country. Hello to Cincinnati. I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky. I think you pronounce your name Luciana. I don't want to butcher your name, Miss Andrews. I'm originally from Louisville, so that's not too far from Cincinnati. Hey, Richmond, Inglewood. It's a different Inglewood up to no good, but I was about to say that. That's a different Inglewood, though.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad I got the pronunciation of your name right. So, yes, while we are waiting, you all keep saying hello. Let us know how you're feeling today as well. We have about 2 more minutes before we get started. So let us know how your day has been. My day has been amazing. It's been a very full day. I've been up since 5 a.m. just in case anybody cares. Hopefully I'm in bed by midnight, but that's most days for me. But my day has been great. Yeah, it was storming here and in Delaware too, right, DJ?
Yeah, it was raining really bad. It's raining really bad.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably just traveling right up the East Coast or along the East Coast. But good. I'm glad that everyone is feeling good. Yes, make sure somebody up above, I just lost a note. Somebody said that they have their notebook ready. Listen, I don't know. So most of you all, I think there's probably one person who has ever done any type of like mastermind or teaching with both Gigi and I. Get your notebooks ready, okay? It is powerful. Our brains get to working. We start bouncing off of each other. Like, it's divine. You don't know what's going to happen in one of these teachings. So make sure that you all have your notebooks ready. Let's see. Let me see how you guys are doing. Got off from work this morning. Okay, so you're off for 2 days. That's great. Who's that? Jennifer's off for 2 days. Artisha, you are welcome. You're very welcome. It was pretty good. Yes, listen, you better have the newborn in class, child. You better have the newborn in class. Listen, the baby has to come too. Yes.
Oh,
I have my nephew puppy in class with me. He keeps jumping every time I get excited. He's not used to this, but
oh gosh.
Whatever.
Okay, guys, listen. We're not going to waste any time. We know how precious your time is. We're going to get started. First of all, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys so much for investing your time in this experience. I had actually, when this idea first came, it was on Facebook, and I was just like, how many people would love to go back over, or for the first time go over, getting their business plans ready, established, whether it's short, whether it's long. And I didn't really know what the feedback was going to be. Well, 406 registrants later, I know a lot of people may not be able to make, and I know some of you guys are watching the replay, but to all 406 of you who registered, listen, I am just like mind blown by that. I'm just really, really mind blown. And so we're going to celebrate at the end. We have a very special announcement. We need you guys to stick with us, okay, for the next 2 hours. I know it's an investment of your time, but please stick with us because, I approached Tiffany a couple weeks ago. And I was talking to her and about this class, and we put our heads together. And again, I had already launched it and everything. And we just started talking, and we thought about what was something that we could give you guys at the end of this that would help you execute this and so much more. And we have something that is literally mind-blowing. It is something that I've never launched before. I've done it in so many different ways, but we've never launched this as this. And Tiffany and I are going to be not just your coaches for tonight, but for a special experience that we're going to give those of you who have registered 50% off, because you guys are going to stick with us tonight. You're going to ride out with us. And as a thank you, we're going to give you 50% off this experience. So definitely stay tuned. It's for anyone who's anywhere in the world. We wanted to make sure that all of our registrants could invest in this. So we're going to get started. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. And guys, be sure there's some really cool features. We wanted to give some kind of like some housekeeping rules. So I'm going to share my slide so that you guys can see it. Awesome. So we're going to share our bios really quickly, and then I'm going to get started. But I wanted to give some housekeeping rules because listen, y'all, I don't know if all of you are going to be in the class at the same time, but I do know that we want to make sure that we set some genesisdorsey.com rules. So number one, the first rule is you need to have fun tonight. Listen, we're talking about your business, your dream, your vision, okay? You need to get excited. So if you came in here like, oh my gosh, I just can't believe my business I'm frustrated. Listen. I need you to gather thyself together and get excited, okay? I need you to be excited. The second thing is that I would love for you, and Tiffany and I, we would love for you to participate, okay? We want you to participate, okay? So what that means is we want you to engage with other people. If other people have questions, engage with them. Come on now. Don't be the ashy student. Don't be the student that just sits in the corner.
And all dry.
It's all dry. Like come down, we need some coconut oil in your life, okay? Like Lizzo said, coconut oil, okay? We need you to be dripping in excitement, okay? Dripping in participation, because you walked into a class hosted by moi and Tiffany Gillespie. So y'all do know how I am. If you know me personally, and if this is your first time, I'm a little bit crazy, but I'm 100% genius, okay? And so what that means is we're gonna have fun. We're gonna be down to earth. Listen, when you're running a business, you need to have some laughter and some life in you, because your business will try to suck it all out, okay? So we want to make sure that we stay excited, that we control our excitement. The third thing is we want you to be encouraging. So there may be some questions by people in the class that you may think are beginner questions, or you may think are like, duh, that's a duh answer. But guess what? There are no dumb questions, at least not in this class. Now, some other times there have been some dumb questions I have heard, but this is not the center for dumb questions, okay? You can ask whatever you want. This is about being a beginner entrepreneur anyway. So you may have some questions that no one has ever given you. And so you've been walking around with them. This is it. So when does Q&A happen? Do I shoot all my questions out at once? So what's going to happen is at the end of every session, we have 3 sessions tonight. One is going to begin. We have 20 minutes left for the one that I'm going to do, which is the intro. About 20, 30 minutes, the intro to the lean business plan, the short version. And then after that, you can ask some questions. Then Tiffany is going to do, the camera's right here. I don't know why I've been looking at the corner. Hello, guys. So Tiffany's going to take us deeper. She is a business development strategist. So she's going to take us deeper into the full fleshed out business plan. And so after that, you'll have questions for her. Then we're going to go into the execution session. This is the bonus execution session that's for 30 minutes on what do you do when you're done the plan, okay? So we're gonna talk about just some things to keep in mind, Tiffany and I, about execution. And then after that, you can ask some questions, okay? So be sure to take notes. If you have questions, write them down on a piece of paper. This is the time for you to really center in on your business, okay? So let's get into this. So hello, my name is Genesis Dorsey. As you can see in this video, in this photo, I know that my hair is different. Don't worry about it. I'm still the same person. So I am the founder of the Boss Builder Nation, otherwise known or hosted at genesisdorsey.com. And BBN is a passionate tribe of business and ministry leaders who desire to build platforms of impact that lead to income generating businesses that they can leave as their legacy. So I'm all about building and helping you build your platform. And your platform is not your website. Your platform is really the full scope of how you're going to take that knowledge in your mind or those skills that you have and monetize it in a digestible way. That becomes your platform. So I primarily focus on helping those who need a following. You have to build a tribe, community. So I teach you how to build that community. So that they can support your product, your service, or your ministry. And of course, many businesses, they thrive off of community. You need people. So how do you build a community that supports your mission and vision? How do you continue to monetize from that following? That's what I teach with a passion outside of many, many things. Of course, I'm also an active member of our family business that is centered around private education, as well as being the owner of 3 businesses outside of that. And of course, by my side tonight, my ride and live, not ride or die. We don't do that because Jesus already did. Okay? My ride and live is Tiffany Gillespie. And Tiffany, can you tell us who you are?
Absolutely, absolutely. So as my bio says, I am an award-winning strategic event coordination expert, business and career development strategist. I have authored 4 books, 3 of which are released to the public. You can go to tiffanygillespie.com to get your copy. I am currently working on my 5th book, which I'm really excited to release at the end of this year, the beginning of early next year. But I have the privilege and honor of being the owner and founder of To the T Events, which is an event planning company that I started 7 years ago. I'm going to tell you all more about my story during my portion of the presentation because it's a sensational story, but it's one that I really want to save you all from, and I'm passionate about helping people to avoid some of the pitfalls that I had in my journey of building my business, which is why I started what is now known as the 6 Figure Society. It is an organization that is designed to help business owners to earn their first 6 figures or to earn their next 6 figures through the use of strategies, systems, and strategic events to get them in front of their target audience. So all of that is a really fancy way of saying that I help people make money doing what it is that God has called them to do. I also have the privilege and honor of serving as the Chief of Strategic Planning for my church, which is based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where I am currently. And I'm, again, just really excited to be doing this lesson because this is something that definitely resonates with me personally. As the bio says, I get requests from all across the country to work with all different types of business owners, but doing something like this, talking about those beginning stages, or even if you're starting something new, it might not be your first business, but if you're trying to start your next business and you want to do it the right way, this is the type of class that you need to be in, and doing these types of free trainings is really what I'm passionate about. So I'm super excited to be here with you all tonight.
Yay! So we're going to center in, guys. We're going to get started on this lean plan. So I'm going to, let me get this together. I'm going to focus in and I'm going to, okay, we're good to go. So guys, we're going to dive into the lean plan. And the lean plan, this is very important for us to know. And so we're all about helping you guys with free resources on tonight. You know, again, I don't know how many of you guys are, let's kind of get a poll in the chat. How many of you are starting? Put your hands up if you are bootstrapping this yourself. Like it's coming out of your pockets, your own income. You know, you're not getting money from an investor. You're not getting, you know, thousands of dollars from, you know, family members, but you are starting this with your own coins, okay? How many hands? Because that was me. Okay, my parents didn't give me squat. Okay, I was hoping they would, but they did not. Okay, how many? Okay, good. Well, listen, I want to tell my business story because that is a part of what we're doing tonight. This is an empowerment as well as an educational and executional type of night. And so I want you guys to be excited. So in that excitement, I think that we need to share our story, Tiffany and I, because it's going to really encourage you. So if you're familiar with my story, then great. You'll know how to add to this. You'll know how to, let everybody hear it. But I started out my business journey at 19 years old. I was at Spelman College, enjoying myself. Shout out to Spelman. Okay, Spelman in the house. But I was at Spelman, which is the number one HBCU, historically Black college and university. Had to, put that in there. But I was so excited. I was enjoying my life. And at 19 years old, my family really went through a traumatic faith situation. And at 19 years old, I came back home to Delaware, was having fun in Atlanta, came back to Delaware, and I had to step into a role that I was not ready for. Okay. And this was the very first business that I had my chance to touch. Business was not my passion. It was not my passion. It was just something that for me, my parents did, and it helped to create a lifestyle for me that allowed me awesome opportunities, but I wasn't really interested in it. I wanted to be a pediatrician, specifically an osteopathic pediatrician that focused on holistic medicine and healing. And so I had my whole track together. But at 19, I came home and I did not know anything about business, nothing. I knew how to print out something on QuickBooks, and that printed out a kind of collection of payments for our parents at times. And this was before we switched to better systems. And so I had to really step into not just a maturity level of age, but a maturity level of understanding how business worked. And at that time, the business was kind of going through some public issues. We were going through, because of everything that was happening in our family, people didn't think that the business was going to remain open. It was a lot of uncertainty. And at that point in time, my marketing game I had to learn, my business game, leveraging, who we are as a business, what set us apart, and actually telling the world, right? And so fast forwarded from 19 to 21, let's jump up to 21, that was when I started my own first business. So after helping the family business, really getting my foot in there and really having a quick version of getting started, right? It wasn't like I could take my time. I had to just literally just jump in. So with my own first business, it was a graphic design company I started called Gigi Creates, and it just took off. And then after that, I transformed the name as I began to work with more corporate clients. I couldn't really use Gigi Creates, and so it became Genesis Digital Agency, and now it's Glam Print Go, because we've expanded how we operate, and we also added product development. And so over this time, of course, also too, having GenesisDorsey.com, which launched in 2014, I've learned a lot. And one of the lies that I was told was that you don't need a business plan. I heard from many people that you didn't need it, and I heard, well, I started without one, you don't need one. And at first I was thinking, well, maybe they're right, because they're successful. And, they said that I don't need one. So I don't need one. I just need to kind of just put an idea on paper. Right. And that's what I was taught. So I was taught that you didn't necessarily need a business plan, but you needed to kind of outline things like, who's your target audience? People used to drill that in your head. You don't sell to everybody, know who you sell to. But I didn't also have an idea of expenses. I didn't have an idea of what my actual true goals were. I didn't really have an idea of, would I need employees? How many would I need down the road? I didn't have an actual layout of how I was going to actually make money. What kind of services was I going to offer? It was just kind of like just a plethora of business guru advice in a bowl. And then I realized they did not know what they were talking about. And so I started out with a lean business plan. So I didn't start out with a full fleshed out one, but I finally said to myself, okay, well, I need something. And so I started with a lean business plan. And we're going to pull this one from the SBA. The SBA, which hopefully everyone knows about. If you do not know about, it is basically the government's free resource for small business owners. So it's a small business administration. And I just want to show you really quickly what it looks like. Hopefully many of you have taken this route. If you've started, how many of you have started your business plan with the SBA. I mean, I just want to see if anyone has done it. Show of hands if so. How many of you have already used or have started using the resource? Maybe, you know, you have not completely fleshed it out, but you've started. Has anyone started yet? If not, all is well. But this is the small business, the United States Small Business Administration. So even if you don't live in the United States, because we do have people who do not live in the United States who have registered or maybe watching the replay. But I believe that even if you're not from even if you don't live in the United States, they have awesome resources that will help you in some very beginner basics. So I'm going to be teaching from the lean business plan that they have. I am going to be emailing out these documents, the lean version and the full version to you guys, just in case you don't feel like downloading it, right? But I'm going to send it out to you. So let me stop sharing and we're going to go back to me. Okay, I see people raising their hand. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so we're going to be using this as the root because I'm going to tell you guys something. And I know this may go against some people's, stuff. But guys, let me tell you something. Do not pay someone to give you this. This template that I'm about to show you is free. So on the SBA.gov, okay, the SBA.gov, it's free, okay? So if someone says, oh, buy my business plan template for $9.99 or for $29 or for $100, it's free, okay? So we're not doing that. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys this and we're going to jump, and I'm going to be using Pages for Mac, okay? But I'm going to share this with you guys. We're going to go through it. So tonight's class is not to sell you guys business planning, because you can do this for free. What we're going to do is we're going to break this stuff down so that you can get this stuff done. That's what tonight is all about, okay? Okay. So let me share this with you guys, okay? And I'm going to bring up the chat so we can see it. And I want to... Let's see if there's a way for me to, hold on guys, give me 1 second. This is my first time using Zoom webinar. So I'm a little bit of a student myself in this, okay? So I am learning on how to get all this stuff done. Okay, great. Okay, awesome. Okay, so we are here in the small business. This is the small lean business plan. They give you this version of, it's a wooden grain toy company. This is the version that they give you. But guess what? We're going to adjust this for service-based, for retail, for, like I said, toy company. But we're going to really use this as a framework, okay? So let's first start out. I want to start out, before we even get to this plan, okay? I want to start out with the name. Okay, so a lot of people, they take forever with a name. You're like, oh my God, I'm trying to think of a name, I'm trying to think of something deep, trying to think of something, just something, oh my God, something life-changing, right? And the goal of tonight is really to show you guys how it's time to execute. Let me tell you something. My name in my business, especially for my design company, which has brought in the most revenue, like I'm talking about well over 6 figures annually, is because, listen, I worked. So I changed the name though 3 times. It started out with Gigi Creates, and literally it was a little girl that I found off of clip art. Thank God no one ever sued me. So I didn't know anything about, I was even learning about graphic design, law stuff myself. I would just start out like everybody else. I put a little girl off of Google, made a little black box, okay, little black circle, and put Gigi Creates in this font that I found on Canva, okay? And I got started. And so when you get started, you don't get fixed on a name. I mean, again, if you do have a name that you stick with forever, awesome, but don't spend a year mulling over a name, okay? Names can change, okay? You can change the labels down the road, but just get started, okay? Just get started. So again, his company is named Wooden Grain Toy Company, okay? So that's his name. Now I do want to say this, as far as trademarks are concerned, if you're going to be using a name that will be used for branding, packaging purposes, you're going to be using it to do a ton of promotions, you definitely want to trademark your name. Okay, and I will be sending some links over the course of the couple of days on where you can get trademarks done at. You definitely want to go through a lawyer. I've learned several times on not to go through LegalZoom or Trademarkia because you're going to need some help down the road. So I'm definitely using a lawyer. There's going to be of a huge advantage, okay? But you definitely looking at trademarking your name. Once you know it's a name that you're going to be running with for promotion purposes, branding purposes, it'll be all over packaging, things like that, okay? But don't get stuck on the name. So let's first talk about identity, okay? This is split into these boxes, 12 boxes that we're going to go into and look at, okay? The first one is identity. And we know what identity means. Identity means who are you, right? And I love this because you need to learn how to summarize your business into one sentence. And I think that this plan is so awesome because it is a great summary of who you are and what you do as a full scope, but you can't do anything else if you don't know who you are. So this sentence, wooden grain toys manufactures high quality hardwood toys for children age 3 to 10, short and sweet to the point. Okay, so basically, what is your name and what do you do? They manufacture high quality hardwood toys for. Then it gives us a very not too defined, but enough children and their ages. So they're not doing adults. They're not focusing on teens. They're not focusing on children ages, bam to bam. And a lot of times people will tell me, well, what if I'm not focusing so much on age? What if I'm focusing more on like an experience? Like for instance, I had a client who focused on selling wigs to those who are struggling with alopecia and hair fallout, right? So for her, it may not have been targeted to an age, but more to a certain experience. Okay, so you don't always have to have the target by age, but you can be targeted in things like experiences, cultural needs. There's so many different things. But don't think that like, okay, well, I don't know the age range specifically. Now, as you get more defining your business, you may begin to say, okay, well, as we look at our demographic, we're starting to see that we serve a lot of this particular demographic. So maybe you'll sharpen more across time, but don't feel like you got to put yourself in this tiny of a box. I do believe in serving a niche, right? A niche is a specific corner of the market, but you don't have to be like this niched, okay? So this is good. Hardwood toys for children aged 3 to 10. Now, the next thing is the problem. Every great business fills a void. Every great business solves a problem. If your business is not solving a problem, you're going to run yourself eventually into a wall. It may not feel like it right now because everyone's supporting you. You're just getting started. Everyone loves you. Wait like 3 or 4 months later, okay? Then that's when you really need to start solving some kind of problem. The best businesses find a problem. It may not be deep. It may be surface. For instance, the dollar store, people want something that's for $1 or cheap dollar amounts. Not that deep, right? Not like they're looking for something. No, everything's $1. Okay, but guess what? It solves that problem of needing things that are of a low price. And guess what? I don't have to count my change. I can come with dollars, right? It solves a need. That Dollar Tree solves a need. Walmart solves a need. Neiman Marcus solves a need. La Perla, they solve a need, right? No matter what your level is or what you charge, you need to solve a problem. So theirs is parents and grandparents are looking for high quality, durable toys that will entertain kids and foster creativity. Now, what I like about this problem is that it's not just stating that, it's not saying that, people are having a hard time finding high quality, durable toys. I like this part right here too, that will entertain kids and foster creativity. So it's not just about buying the toys, but what do the toys do in the end? It entertains them, but it also fosters creativity. Just that ending right here adds just a little bit of a panache, right? A little bit of spice, a little bit of magic to the ending. So don't just tell me that you sell clothes. Don't just tell me that you sell hair. Don't just tell me that you sell you have a grass cutting business. What does your grass cutting or lawn care services do for someone's lawn, for their property? Don't just tell me what you do. Tell me what the end result will be to entertain kids and foster creativity. Got it? Okay, solution. So this is what I really like too. So it says here, our handcrafted toys are made from solid hardwoods and are designed with sufficient moving parts to engage young children without limiting imagination. So this is more of a breakdown of Well, how are they going to be high quality and durable? Well, because they're made from solid hardwoods, okay? How will they entertain kids and foster creativity? Number one, they're gonna have enough sufficient moving parts. Why kids like moving parts. The other thing though too is that it says here to engage young children without limiting imagination. Why? Because they wanna foster creativity. So when you answer this box, our solution, what you're really looking to do is to expand how you're gonna solve that problem in a more in-depth way. Okay, that's really what we're looking at. How you're going to look to solve that problem in a more in-depth way. Okay. Here is the other. The next part, which is target market. So this is where we're getting more defined, right? So the target. This is very important. So the product is for children ages 3 to 10, but the children aren't the ones buying the product. Who's buying the product? The adults are, right? So sometimes you have products or services where the end customer matches, well, the end user matches the customer. And sometimes you have it where it doesn't, where, for instance, you know, kids were not going to Toys R Us to buy the toys. The parents were, right? The adults were. So their target audience is adults, specifically parents and grandparents who wish to give toys to their children and grandchildren, right? So they're looking for people who are looking to buy toys, not people who are like, maybe not. No, they know who they're looking for. So this is a nice, broad enough audience. Not too defined, but it definitely is enough. Now, how many of you guys have heard of things like an avatar, where you're building your avatar, or like where you're building your customer profile? How many of you guys have ever heard of those terms? You definitely probably have heard of them if you've been in the internet streets of business, right? Okay, great. So I'm seeing some hands raised. I'm seeing some chats. Okay, got it, right? So that's where, so if you're not familiar with that, an avatar, building your customer profile, market, you build a more defined profile. So it's like, we're about to talk about next. How much money do they averagely spend on your services or products, similar ones? What kind of environment, what kind of social economic class do they represent? So that's where you take your target market and you get a little bit more fleshed out. And we're going to talk about this down the road, but this is the beginning crux, the beginning place, which is the target market. Okay, we're almost getting there. I'm waiting for Tiffany. I can't wait for us to deep dive. So the competition is going to be, who are you against? Now, this is, when I say against, well, who's your competition? Everyone loves to say, I don't have competition. I'm like nobody else. Yes, you're like nobody else, but that does not mean that you cannot go out of business. Well, what God has for me is for me. Yeah, that's true. But you still have competition. See, what's for you is your business. See, that your business is for you. Your business, that's what we're talking about. Your business is for you. But your business can be for you and you can still go out of business. Okay? And guess what? You will be reminiscing and saying the business that I had. So instead of the business that I have. Okay? Because you have to realize that when you go into the market, oh yeah, there is saturation. Yes, there are people who are doing what you do, but that's not the issue. The issue is you finding clarity in the marketplace, you finding your spot, but you still have to defend your spot. You still have to defend it. So in here, what I like is that when they talk about the wooden toys, they knew who their large competition was and they knew who their smaller competition was. So you need to see who are the larger, where are the places that everyone's going for your products, right? Where they're on Google's first homepage. You know, when they type in whatever, whatever kind of services, these are the big dogs, right? Who are the big dogs? Because you need to know where other people are spending their money. Okay, because that does influence the pool. Amazon is a perfect example. Amazon has spoiled people when it comes to shipping. It really has. To where if people don't get something within 2 or 3 days, they lose it, right? But guess what? That has impacted shipping or the explanation of shipping, right, to small business owners. Because if you don't ship in a fast enough time, you need to have a reason why, right? Now, before Amazon, you could say it was going to take 3 to 4 weeks and no one had an issue. Well, now you need to say it's going to take 3 to 4 weeks and this is why, right? You're starting to have to defend yourself because big businesses do affect small ones, okay? okay? So that's important. You also need to know who are the smaller businesses that are your competition. Don't name them all, but name a few that you truly believe are ones that your customers that you desire are currently shopping at or using. Okay, revenue streams. Okay, revenue streams. This is very, very, very important. How are you going, okay, to put out product to obtain revenue? Okay, so for instance, for wood and grain toys, they're going to sell directly to customers at craft fairs, and then they're going to also sell online through their website, right? So for me, though, I would have defined this out a little bit more, because for me, I would want to know, even though it's a quick sheet, I would want to know, what does online necessarily mean? Like, does online mean that, because nowadays online can mean a lot of things. Does online mean that you're going to focus more on a website? Are you going to focus on a website, but really your revenue is going to really come through social media ads, right? There are some people's strategies where they've made so much money through Facebook ads. Others, they've made their money through using influencers. And you may say, well, that's more marketing activities, but I'm going to kind of dip my hand into revenue streams and say, in today's market, a lot of times people are picking very unique ways of obtaining revenue. So you just want to make sure that you know, what does online necessarily mean, because online is being so much more defined nowadays. Also, too, are you going to be going to craft shows or vending or exhibiting shows? What kind of shows are they, right? You want to know what they are. You can't just say, oh, yeah, I'm going to vend where? What kind of events? Just so that you know, where are you going to put your product out so that you can make money. Marketing activities. What kind of marketing activities will you do to gain the consumer's interest, right? So they said email newsletter, targeted Google and Facebook ads, which they've included, social media, and in-person at craft fairs, okay? So these are all the ways that people are going to know about you. Are you doing direct mailers, billboards? Are you using influencers? Are you using, different types of marketing, traditional marketing, how are you going to do that? Expenses. What are you going to spend your money on? Okay, so for this, it was materials for toys, including wood, steel, and rubber, craft fair fees and travel costs for what? The craft fairs, inventory space for products. This, now again, I define this all the way out, because I know this is really kind of light, and I know, Tiffany, we're gonna go a little bit more, way more in depth. But for me, I would have added a couple more things like legal fees, things that will be ongoing accounting. I'm going to need social media marketing software. So depending upon what kind of business you have, I would have added some more expenses to this list, because you do want to out. A lot of businesses don't even know where their money's going. Okay, so you need to know all the subscription services that you're going to have. You need to rack all those things up. Okay, now team and key roles. This description really fits the majority of you guys, where the only team member is the owner. How many of you guys fit that description, where the only person that's run, you don't have any staff, you don't have any contracted help, like it's just you? How many solopreneurs do we have? How many solopreneurs? Okay, how many solopreneurs? Okay, that means that you do not have an assistant. Okay, now that does not fit me, because Amanda is she's my right hand. She's my flash. Okay, but that did fit me for a while. Okay, for a very long time. And so that this is how you would fill it out. You are the one, okay? You are the one that's pretty much going to be running this. And it says here, as profits increase, Wood and Grain Toys will lock up to add an employee to assist with social media and online marketing, right? So you do need to know who will be your next hire. And that's what this is very important to know. Because for me, as I explain and build up, you need to know what you need before you need it. Right? You need to know what you need. If you had to hire another person right now, let's say you already have people. For instance, for the school, we have staff. Okay, we have staff. So I know right now who we need next. We already have, employees. We have administrators. We have office employees. We have the staff. We have the teachers. But what do we need next? I know what we need next, right? So you need to know what you need next, because you also need to make sure that is in the projections as we go deeper into your business plan, especially as you become and you begin to operate. You need to know how much you need to make and how much more profit needs to increase to take on someone else as well. So that is very important in your business, because for a lot of people, the way that they're running their businesses, they're not incorporating into their pricing structure the affordability down the road of hiring more help. You can't have more help because you don't charge enough to have help. Right? So you need to get in the mode of, okay, am I charging high enough to even hire? Or am I going to bleed in hiring, right? So hiring should not have to eat up your costs. You should be charging enough to afford it, right? So this is very important. I'm not bleeding to afford it, okay? I am going to increase my prices to afford an assistant, or to afford an employee, or to afford help, right? So that's very, very, very important. So if you're like, oh, well, I want to get insurance for I want to get all this stuff for my employees, great, hike up your prices. That's you're going to have to do something, either that or get more capital. You do something, okay? Okay, next but not least, okay. Silly question. Is this course for people who already own businesses? Yes, because your business plan, just to answer Salam, hopefully I said this right, Salama's question, it's for everybody, because as you change in your business, this has to change. My business plan, again, maybe I'm the only one, my business plan has changed a lot. And it will continue to change. As your business, as the climate of business changes, as marketplaces change, a lot of these different things will change. Your competition may change. Your revenue streams may expand or change. Your expenses may change. Your marketing activities may change. Key roles, right? If you start off as a solopreneur, guess what? Now you have a team. It's going to change. And again, as Tiffany said, as you gain knowledge, and especially, so for me, I always change my lean business plan first, and then I go into my deeper one. Now, again, I always listen. That's why Tiffany's going to come on, because but I like the quick one. But the in-depth one, that has definitely it's going to definitely change. And because you have your game plan is always changing. Think of your business plan not as what you only do once. Okay. Think of your business plan as your manual for your business. And I'm not talking about your operations manual. I'm talking about your manual for what is my company? What does it look like? What does it move like? Again, we're about to change. We're about to get deeper into this, but it's going to basically be something that you will continually change. And that's why this free business plan bootcamp is for everybody, because we all need to go back here and we need to assess, is this going to stay the same? Right? Exactly. Yes, Shauna. Exactly. And this is something that I wanted to touch on with, as Shauna just pointed out, which is that one of the reasons why too, we wanted to get this to you guys, and, kind of almost as a refresher, is because if you're going to be doing such things such as business pitches, competitions, going for grants, getting investors or investors, which are technically external stakeholders, you're going to need this. And you're going to need the in-depth one too, because you cannot take other people's money and you not have a well fleshed out plan. So this is for everybody, because let's say as your business is expanding too, I have someone that I'm connected to who was a B2C. She was a business to consumer, and now she is a B2B, a business to business. So her business plan is changing again. Okay. So guys, any questions before we move into Tiffany? So I want to get Tiffany ready. And let me just go over this. Oh, so sorry. Milestones. As business grows, wooden grain toys will advertise in target markets, especially in advance of the holiday season. For me, milestones are going to be basically where, and this is how I define it, but as your company expands, what is going to be kind of like a big move for you to make, right? So I think that that's something that you really want to think of in depth of. As I am growing, sometimes we have such a small mindset and we're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be small forever. Well, guess what? What happens when you do blow up? What happens as you do grow? What is going to be the very next thing that you're going to want to do? That is going to be that. Then again, this is just one milestone, but you can definitely put several. Okay. So we're about to get Tiffany up here. I cancel my spotlight. Hold on. Actually, I'm gonna put myself back in there. Give me a second. Any questions before we move on? Because I'm ready to. Anyone who's ready to deep dive? Because I think we'll have more questions when Tiffany jumps in. Because she is it. I love Tiffany. So are you guys ready? Put your hands up if you're ready. Let me see, showing hands. Let me just see some readies. Who's ready for the deep dive? Tiffany, you ready?
Let's go deep. Y'all ready? Let me get myself assessed. I'm ready. Listen, if you all have ever done a class with me or anything with me, you know I am full of laughter and joy, and I love to have fun. Okay, so I see at least 10 people who are ready, so I'm ready as well. I'm just going to get a couple of things set up for you all. So as Gigi said, we are working from the examples that the SBA has created for us and that they have put out there. The thing about the SBA's business plan, and the reason why a lot of people don't complete a business plan, is because they don't understand all of the pieces. That's why we're doing this. Again, we do not want you all to pay to get a business plan done. There are free templates and formats and information out there, but the reason why a lot of people, again, don't ever complete their business plan is because it can be very overwhelming, and because it can be a little bit scary to be able to do so. So we are going to talk about the more traditional business plan. Before we hop into that, I want to give you all just a little bit of my background and to build up a little bit of credibility. I know that there are some people who are watching who do know me. I see some of my clients who are on here, but for the most part, many of you have probably never heard my story. You probably, you may not even know who I am. Like, where did Gigi pull this girl from? So I have been in my industry for 12 years. I've been a business owner for 7, and I've been successfully self-employed for coming up on 5 years. We are at 4 years and 11 months as of today, okay? 4 years and 11 months of successful self-employment. I'm so grateful for this journey, but this is not a journey that I chose. In fact, if I could be completely honest, I would be at year 5 of my plan, but God had other plans for my life. So I started out in my industry. The very first business that I started was an event planning company that is still in existence today. We just don't plan social events. We plan different types of events now. So I started that business back in 2012 after having been in my industry for 5 years prior to that. So the 7 plus the 5 makes up the 12 total years of experience. About 3 years after starting my business, actually, that's not even true. As soon as I started my business, people started coming to me saying, how did you do it? Now, you all have to remember, when I started my business 7 years ago, Instagram was nothing. I mean, Instagram blew up very quickly. Instagram was nothing. Social media marketing was not a thing. I built my business off of word of mouth and being on Facebook like a mad woman, just constantly talking about what I was doing. And as I was sharing the things that I did day to day in my business, people started coming to me asking me if I would help them build their businesses. So I did that kind of informally for 3 years, and then I formally put it together, put a name on it, and we now have what is known as the Six Figure Society. As Genesis said, I have also changed the name of my consulting company 3 times. The first name for it was the Wedding Planners Academy, which made complete sense because I was a wedding planner. But what I noticed was that, and this is what happens when you don't have a plan, right? This is what happens when you don't have a business plan. I had not taken the time to really examine who I had already been serving and to really identify my target market. I went with what I thought made the most sense. Just because it seems to make the most sense does not mean that it is the right plan for your business. So because I was a wedding planner, I figured I could help other people to start wedding planning businesses. The issue with that is that most of the people who I had been helping to build their businesses at that time, they were not wedding planners, but I didn't have anyone to do a free training like this. All of this free content and things that you all see that you have easy access to, it's really an oversaturation of information. This was not available. In order to get a business consultant, when I started my business 7 years ago, you had to be prepared to invest thousands of dollars. Now now you can have a business consultant for as low as $97 or $99. Genesis and I both have programs where we help people on a membership style basis, on a monthly basis, where they get certain content. Maybe you get a group session. She has hers with the Power Table. I have mine with the Six Figure Society. That did not exist 7 years ago, and that's why we create things like this, right? So I started my business again 7 years ago, and then I started my consulting company 4 years ago, coming up on 5 years now. So I was working a full-time job. I had worked since I was 13, and I started my company in January of 2012, but I wasn't really running my company. I let things like not having a business plan, not understanding, fear of asking the questions to get the help that I needed. I allowed those things to hold me back from actually running my company. And that's what we want to help you all to be able to do today. For all of those who have an idea, for all of those who have a company, you set up this LLC, you've done all of this amazing framework, you have an EIN, now you're on the IRS's radar. You've done nothing else but put yourself on the IRS's radar because you're not actually running your business. So we want to be able to help you all do that. So I was in a place where I did not really run my business for about a year. Now, I had clients come to me when I would be strong enough, to tell someone about what it was that I did for a living. They would come to me, and I had a few weddings, but nothing, like, it wasn't sustainable. It wasn't something that I could do full time. So in November of 2012, I decided to take a leap of faith and to quit my full-time permanent job with the good benefits and what I thought was a good salary. I decided to quit that job to pursue another job in my industry. So I had worked in the legal field. When I first went to school, I thought that I wanted to be a lawyer. So I've always been a go-getter. So I really forged my way in that field, in that industry. I was never without a job. I had all of the right contacts, worked for the district attorney's office. So I was out here getting it in the legal field and doing the event planning kind of as a side thing. No one ever told me that I could do what I loved as a full-time job. I did, again, what made the most sense, being a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, right? Kind of those traditional jobs, because no one ever told me that you could make a living being an event planner. So I quit my comfortable, full-time, permanent position at a law firm to pursue a job in this field because this is what I was passionate about. I got a job right away. Wasn't very hard for me to get one because I had years of experience. And then I got fired 2 months later. So in January of 2013, I am now 1 year into business ownership, nothing to show for it, and I don't have a job. And I remember panicking. I literally left from getting fired, y'all, and walked around downtown Philadelphia applying to like Walgreens, Starbucks, all of those kind of places, because what do you do when you get fired? I had never been without a job. And then I took myself home and I did the most humbling thing, one of the most humbling things, because there have definitely been some things that are more humbling, but I did probably the most humbling thing that I had done in my life until that point, and that was to go home and apply for welfare. I did not have another check coming in for 2 weeks. I had bills that were due. I do not live with my parents. They are not sending paychecks to Philly. So I went home. I applied for all of my benefits, everything that I could possibly apply for. I applied for them. And then I got to work looking for a job. And one morning I woke up and it was kind of as if this light bulb went off, right? This light bulb went off in my head and said, why aren't you looking for a job? You have one. Run your business. So I had also applied for unemployment. Unemployment never comes in time. Anybody who's ever had to deal with that, it never comes in time. So now I'm really making a faith move. I'm like, okay, God, I have bills due. You gave me this real cute idea, but I don't have any way to pay my bills. So I started with these ideas. I got all these different ideas. I got together with my family. They helped me. So I was able to make enough money to sustain myself until the unemployment finally came in. So in the middle of this, I was still searching for a job because, again, being self-employed was not a thing 6-7 years ago. that was not popular. You were still considered crazy if you wanted to work for yourself full-time, especially in your 20s. Like, working for yourself full-time in your 20s was unheard of. So I was looking for a job. In 2012, I had also been diagnosed with a brain condition, which I still have. There is no cure for it, only treatment for the symptoms. So I had been diagnosed with this brain condition, and then bringing it back to 2013, I was ready to go to work. I had found a job. I had my start date ready. And one day I'm at home. I get the worst pain that I had ever experienced and have ever experienced in my life. And that sent me, to my doctor, which required me, which they recommended that I have brain surgery. So in April of 2013, I have this brain surgery. Now, mind you, I'm still trying to be self-employed, y'all. This is my first swing at it. I have, I don't know anybody who's self-employed. All of these coaches that you see today, they were not readily accessible back then. So I had my team. I had developed a team of interns, and I had my family and my friends, and they were going to run this business while I recovered from surgery, and that's what they did. I eventually ended up going back to work at the end of 2013 because I did not know how to figure this thing out, right? I didn't know that when you hit an ebb in business goes in cycles. So when you are on the downside of a cycle is a circle, right? Even if it's a triangle, if it's a square, whatever shape your cycle may be, there is an underside to it, right? So there's always going to come an underside in order for the cycle to start again. So I did not know that when you are on the underside of the cycle, that is not the time to give up. That's the time to be innovative, okay? So I went back to work, worked a little while, and again, my 5-year plan was I was going to work at this job for 5 years, mind my business, keep my head down, keep it humble, keep it cute, stack my money, run this little business on the side. That was my plan, right? But God had a different plan, and sis got fired again. I am sis is me, okay? I got fired again. But since that time, I've been successfully self-employed. So I give you that background so that you all understand, the story is sensational, but I don't want that story for you all. And when I think about how badly I don't want this story for people, it literally makes me emotional because that was the hard way, okay? It was the uphill way. You're going to have enough battles and challenges in business ownership. Don't make it harder for yourself than you have to, okay? So we're going to dive deep. We're going to go deeper into a traditional business plan format. Let me see if I can share my screen. Oh, perfect. Okay. All right. So this is the business plan that, again, the SBA has provided. So this is an in-depth business plan that the SBA has provided for you all. And again, all of these links and things, they will be sent to you. I think you're actually going to get them before we even get off of this call. If you all have ever done anything with Gigi, then you'll have all of your information before you even end this call, okay? So Rebecca Champ is the owner. This was created, this mock template was created in December 29, 2016. So we want to look at the executive summary. So this is going deeper. If you all look at this, this is already more in depth than the example that Genesis showed you all a few minutes ago, okay? So when we think about the executive summary for, let me just see if I can do one more thing here. Okay. All right, so you all should just be able to see the screen solely. So when you think about the executive summary of a business plan, the executive summary is going to tell your reader about what your company is and why it will be successful. Some of the things that have to be included as a part of the executive summary is going to be your mission statement. So I want to talk about the mission statement really quickly because a lot of people get this thing confused when they talk about the mission statement compared to the vision statement. With the mission statement, it defines the company's business, its objectives, and its approach to reach those objectives. Okay, so a mission statement defines the company's business objectives and its approach to reach the objectives. Now, a vision statement is different. A vision statement describes the desired future position of the company. So one of the things that I like to tell business owners to keep it very simple for yourself is the vision is what you see long term. Think about vision for what it literally is. The sight, the vision that you have in your eyes, right? It allows you to see what is ahead of you. It allows you to see the end result, okay? Oh, I don't know if Genesis can share. Genesis, can you share your side by, see if you can do a side by side of the lean business plan and my business plan? I don't know if we can both share our screens at the same time, but if so, she'll do that for us. If not, I'm going to keep moving. And yes, I'm going to repeat the definition. So a mission statement defines the company's business, its objectives, and its approach to reach those objectives. A mission statement defines the company's business, its objectives, and its approach to reach those objectives. A vision statement describes the desired future position of the company. Okay, so let's say, for example, a part of my vision statement, for example, is that I want to own a multi-million-dollar enterprise, a multi-million-dollar consulting firm that helps women to position themselves in places where they are not seen. Okay, so that means that I want them to be seen in places where gender equality is lacking and where racial equality is lacking. So women of color, I want to help them get into places where equality is lacking through this multi-million-dollar consulting firm. What I can promise you is that my company right now today is not a multi-million-dollar company, okay? I can promise you that. But that is the vision, right? That is the future position of the company, is for it to be a multi-million-dollar company that helps women to get into position where equality is lacking, okay? Now, how we get there is the work that we do on a day-to-day basis with helping business owners with their strategies, their systems, strategic events, and positioning them to grow their businesses from, a 4-figure or a 5-figure business to a 6-figure or a multi-6-figure or $1 million or a multi-million-dollar or $1 billion or a multi-billion-dollar business, right? That's the work that we're going to do on a daily basis in order to make sure that in the future, we are positioned where we desire to be, okay? We have to be a voice in the marketplace for women in order to be able to help them get there, all right? So let's keep moving with the executive summary and breaking down what that means and what it looks like. So again, you're going to include your mission statement. You're also going to talk about your product or service, which you see Rebecca did here on the screen. She says that We Can Do It Consulting provides consultation services to small and medium-sized companies. Their services include office management and business process re-engineering to improve efficiency and reduce administrative costs, okay? So that's what they do. So Rebecca's company actually does something very similar to my company with the re-engineering of business processes, office management, operations management. So that is what her product or service is. And then she also just included some basic information about the company. So again, here you see the mission statement. She also included, now this is still all a part of that executive summary and carrying over into the next part, which is the company description, okay? So remember that when we were talking about the executive summary, the mission statement was a part of that. But here in the company description, we see that she's decided to put her mission statement under the section for company description, which is fine. One of the things that I really, or a few things that I really need you all to understand about business plans is that the business plan template is just that. It is a template. So if you want to move some of the pieces and parts around, you are more than welcome to do that. No one said that you had to have everything in the exact order. The template just tells you everything that needs to be included as a part of your business plan. Okay, so traditional business plans, they are designed for those who are detail oriented. So like me, Gigi already told you all, she's not getting into all of the details. Genesis and I have been working together on many projects for many years. She is not lying. I handle details. Genesis handles framework. She's really, really good at that. I'm really, really good at the details, right? So this plan works well for those who are detail oriented, those who want a comprehensive plan, and those who plan to request financing, which is what Genesis was talking about a little bit earlier, and I'm going to talk about in depth in a few minutes. So let's get back to the company description, which is the next section of your business plan. So the company description is used to provide detailed information about your company. So you want to talk about the problems that your business solves, but you really want to be specific, okay? You really want to get into the details of this and understanding, I'll come back to this in a second, and really making sure that people understand what you're all about. So for Rebecca, between the executive summary and the company description, she's covered everything. So you see here that the mission statement for Rebecca is under the company description, and the customers and the details are under the executive summary for her. So again, it does not matter. You want to make sure that you have the product, that you talk about the product or the service that you provide, and then you want to talk about your customers. So I want to give you all a few tips on how it is that you can develop your target audience, how you can create that avatar, your niche market, all of the things that Genesis prefaced before me. I want to tell you how to do those things, how to develop that target market. So I put it in very simple terms. In order to be able to develop your target market, you need to look at the 5 W's and the how. We learned about the 5 W's and the how in elementary school, okay? So we're looking at the who, what, when, where, why, and how. If you can answer those 6 questions about your target audience, you will be able to develop a summary like the one that we see here. Okay, you'll be able to develop this kind of summary if you can answer the 5 W's and the how. So let's go through them. With the who, you want to talk about who your target audience is. Okay, who, what is their race? What is their age? When we talk about the who, we want to talk about demographic information. Okay, what is their race, age, religion, sexual orientation, if that matters for your business. Let's talk about all of that demographic information as a part of the who. The what is, what are you selling to them? What is it that you want them to buy from you? Also, as a part of the what do you want them to believe and to know about your company? Okay, what do you want them to believe and know about your company? So we have the who, the what. We also have the when. When will they buy from you? We know that in the hair or the beauty industry across the board, Fridays and Saturdays are the biggest days of the week for them. Yes, they make money Sunday through Thursday, but we know that on Fridays and Saturdays, that is when people tend to spend the most money in the beauty industry. You need to understand that same truth about your industry. Let me tell you one of the things that I understand about consulting work. Consulting, people seek out consultants and business coaches at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year the most. That does not mean that no one is looking for us at any other time of the year. The middle of the year is the traditional fiscal year. That is when they are changing over from one fiscal year to the next fiscal year. So what that means is that they are looking at those numbers, and if they don't, if the numbers are not where people want them to be, now they are ready to bring on help. This also means that the budget to bring on help has now been approved. You need to understand the same truth about your industry and your business. When are people going to buy from you? And then you want to get more specific. We're not just looking at time of year, but we're looking at the day of the week, time of day. When are they purchasing from you in the morning, in the evening, the afternoon? You can look at your numbers, look at your analytics, do some research to figure that part out, okay? So we have the who, what, when. The next is the where. Genesis talked about this with the online services, with selling online, having an online business. At this point, every company should have an online component. If they don't, they are selling themselves short, okay? If they don't have it, then they are selling themselves short. So you have to determine where you are going to sell. One of the ways that you can help yourself to figure out where you are going to sell is by going back to your who. If you know that your target audience lives up on top of a mountain, why is your brick and mortar location down in the valley? That makes absolutely no sense. So you need to understand who your target audience is so that you know where to position your business. Genesis and I both have businesses that are solely online. Yes, we have offices where we can do, in-person meetings. Yes, we travel to some of our clients if that's the service that they have with us, but primarily our businesses are online. That means that we can service individuals around the world. Okay, that's what we understand about our target audience. But if you are a hairstylist, unless you're having people fly you out to do their hair, you need to really think about where your brick and mortar location is going to be. Is it easily accessible? Is there parking? Is it safe? Does your target audience feel comfortable coming there? Okay, so where are you going to provide your service? So we covered the who, what, when, where, why. Genesis and I did a broadcast, a live broadcast about this on Facebook. You can check either one of our pages to see it. It was last Wednesday, I believe, and we did this broadcast, and we talked about the why, okay? So we're not just thinking about why you're an entrepreneur, though, right? That's the type that Genesis and I were talking about a few weeks ago. But when we answer this why should your customers buy from you? Why would they come to you? Why would they travel? I travel 30 minutes each way to get my nails, feet, and lashes done every few weeks. Why? I pass at least 10 to 15 other nail salons on the way to the salon that I patronize. Why? Because of quality service, because of experience. You have to answer that same why for you. Okay, for your customers and your business. Why should they bypass every other business that is just like yours in order to come and patronize your business? Okay, the same thing for my hairstylist. I drive 20, 25 minutes, sometimes 30 if there's traffic each way, not round trip, but each way, in order to be able to patronize the business of my hairstylist. Why? Because of experience, okay? So let's keep moving. Next, we're going to look at market research or market analysis. If you don't like doing research, you need to keep your 9 to 5. 80%, 70% of what we do as business owners is research. If you don't like researching, find something else to do. Being a business owner is not for you. If you like researching, great. If you don't like researching, find someone else to do it for you. And I just realized I forgot the how. I feel like that's what you are putting in the comment box. So let me pause on the market research and go back to the how. So we covered the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, why, and then the how, okay? So how are you going to execute the service? This is different from the when and the where. How are you going to execute it? You need to talk about quality control. You need to talk about quality control. You need to talk about the customer experience, that we are going to execute things in excellence. We're going to execute efficiently. Maybe your business is not one that wants to specialize in efficiency. Maybe in your industry, the bread and butter is actually in taking your time. Let's say that you own a custom jewelry company. Nothing about custom jewelry making is efficient. So you're not going to put efficient as a part of the how you execute the service. No, we do things that are custom. Custom takes time. So I'm not going to mention anything about efficiency, but I will talk about exclusivity. I will talk about creativity. I will talk about being unique. I will gladly talk about those things, but I'm not going to talk about executing efficiently as a custom jewelry designer, okay? I'm also not going to talk about reasonable pricing. There's nothing reasonable about it. Getting custom jewelry is expensive, okay? So that's the how. So let's get back into the market research. And again, you just want to make sure that, and I saw someone say that they have someone do their research for them. I do as well. That's what I have an assistant for. I like doing research when I have time for it. The issue is that most times I don't have time for research, so I've had to hire someone else to do it for me. So when you're doing your market research, you need to get a really good understanding of your industry outlook and target market. So I was having a conversation with one of my clients yesterday, actually, and she said, "Do you remember the company called Wake Up Now?" I said, "Yeah, girl, I remember that company." She said, "What did they do?" I could not tell you today what Wake Up Now did a couple of years ago. If you remember the company called Wake Up Now, it was a multi-level marketing company. If you remember that, I need you to raise your hand virtually. I need you to raise your hand virtually if you remember Wake Up Now. Okay, so I think I'm not the only one here. All right, so Wake Up Now was a multi-level marketing company. No one remembers what they did, but it was short-lived. They did not do their research, okay? They did not have a good understanding of the outlook for their business, nor did they have a good understanding of their target market, okay? It was very, very short-lived, very short-lived. Doing competitive research will show you what other businesses are doing and what their strengths are. As a business owner, stop lying to yourself and saying that you are not in competition. Literally, the United States is a capitalist society, which means that we thrive off of competition. If there were no competition, this United States of America would not be in existence the way that it is today, okay? So you need to understand, as a business owner, stop lying to yourself and telling yourself that you're not in competition with anyone, because whether or not you see that you're in competition with someone, if they are smart enough to see that they are in competition with you, you better believe that they're paying attention to what you are doing and what you are not doing, okay? So do your market research, look for trends and themes and what other companies do that are successful. One of the communities that I started is called the Christian Women's Collective. It is a collective of women, a group for Christian women leaders who have a passion for Jesus and leadership and community, okay? So in that community, this is not the first organization for Christian women leaders. In fact, I think there's an organization called Christian Women Leaders, right? So it's not the first organization for Christian women leaders, but there were two things that I recognized were missing as a part of my market research. Guess what I did with that community? I made the community fit the need, okay? So doing your research will help reveal to you, I didn't get discouraged when I saw like, oh my goodness, there's all of these other organizations that pretty much do the same thing, or communities that pretty much provide the same type of support that my community is going to provide. I didn't get intimidated. I looked for their weaknesses and I found two really big weaknesses, and I decided to fill the gap. That is what's going to help you be successful. Do not become intimidated by your competition. Instead, use your competition as motivation and as fuel to figure out what they are lacking. Do your research. I researched for the Christian Women's Collective for months. Like, God laid this idea on my heart 2 years ago in 2017. I did months of research, talked to my accountability partners, did surveys. I did all of that over the course of 2.5 years before I ever even publicly mentioned the idea. I didn't have a name for it when I first started researching. Genesis was just talking to you all about that. I did not have a name for this idea when it first came to me. So I had to do the work, do the research, figure it out. And then when I thought about it, it was very simple. The Christian Women's Collective. It's not that hard, not that challenging. That is the name that made sense. So do your market research. And you can provide a more detailed description of your customers in this section. All right, so let's keep moving. So as a part of the market analysis, we also want to be able to discuss your company advantages. What sets your company apart? What makes your company better than any other company? And how are you better, okay? How are you better? Now let's move on to look at organization and management. That's the next section. Let me see, because they have theirs a little bit out of order. Okay, so her organization is up here at the beginning. I remember where it is, okay? So organization and management, you want to describe the legal structure of your business, which you see here. She has an S Corp. So let me tell you all really quickly, if you have a sole proprietorship, you might as well not even have a business, okay? You might as well throw the whole thing away. Stop playing yourself and go ahead and at least get an LLC, okay? Incorporating your business as an S Corp, a C Corp is the best way to go because it provides the best protection for your business. What I always tell my clients is at the minimum, I need you to be structured as an LLC. The issue with an LLC is that it provides limited coverage, okay? So if something happens in your business, someone may be able to find a loophole to be able to sue you personally and come after your personal assets. When you have an S Corp or a C Corp, some sort of corporate structure, okay, when you have your company incorporated, your personal assets are completely protected. Now, the con to that is that 9 times out of 10, you're going to pay more in taxes. So you need to sit with an accountant and figure out for where you are in your business journey, which structure, which legal structure makes sense for your business. Okay. So if you're a sole proprietor, pretty much throw the whole thing away. Try again, get an LLC, okay? I want you to do that this week. And if you sit with an accountant and they say, hey, stay structured as an LLC, then stay that way. If they don't and they tell you to incorporate, do it, okay, to protect yourself and to protect your business interests. So you also want to talk about those principal members. Now, Genesis talked about putting together an organizational chart, and I see all of the questions. I'm going to come to those in a second. Genesis talked about an organizational chart. You can develop an organizational chart that's not filled in. Meaning, let's say that you are a solopreneur, right? You're a solo entrepreneur. You may not have a business and sales manager. You may not have an account manager, right? But make sure that when you are doing your business plan, that you map out the positions that you intend to have within the next 3 to 5 years. A detailed or traditional business plan is designed for you to be able to project for 3 to 5 years from now, okay? So when you are doing your business plan, if you don't have a team, it's just you still need to think about the positions that you will need or that you want 3 to 5 years from now, within the next 5 years. And as Genesis said, this is important so that you can remind yourself of what you are working for. When you're doing your pricing structure, you're not pricing for today. You are pricing for the future. You are pricing for where you desire to go as a business owner, okay? So go ahead and flesh those positions out, and you can put to be determined or whatever you want to fill in that space, okay? You can put that in. So use an organizational chart to lay out the who's who of your company, show each person's unique experience, and if you do have team members already, including a copy of their resume or their CV will help to pad and beef up your business plan. Because remember, we are using traditional business plans as a detailed guide for our business or to get funding for our business, okay? So let's move over to the service and product line. All right, so with the service and product line, you want to describe what you sell or what you offer and explain exactly how it benefits your customers and what the product life cycle will look like. So we see the product life cycle here. So for a service-based business, your product life cycle should be very similar to Rebecca's, which is on your screen. All services are ready to be offered at all times. If you have talked about it and said that it's a service that you provide, you need to be ready to provide it at a moment's notice, okay? So all services are ready to be provided pending approval of the contract. So in this section, again, you want to explain how your services or products benefit your customer, what the product life cycle looks like, talk about intellectual property. So Genesis talked about trademarking, copyright, all of that. You need to sit with an attorney. And again, don't be afraid of these, attorneys and accountants and all of that. My attorney and my accountant are used on an as-needed basis. They do not get a monthly retainer. When I need them, I pay them, okay? And sometimes it may be as simple as my attorney sending a letter out to someone just to light a little fire under their behind because they thought that they weren't going to pay me. That might be $50 for her to draft up the letter, send it out, and to do a follow-up, right? So don't be afraid of having an attorney thinking it's going to cost you $1,000 for them to write a letter. No, just ask, see what the cost is, and allow them to write that letter for you. The same thing with an accountant. I pay per session. When I need to sit down with her, when she tells me, hey, it's time to sit down, I say, okay, let me work that fee into the company's budget. Whatever I need to do, I pay for the service and I get it, okay? So when it comes to the intellectual property piece and the accountant and all of that, make sure that you sit down with someone and allow them to talk you through those things. But in the service or product line portion, you need to talk about your plans to cover yourself, to cover your intellectual property. That is your mindset. Whatever you come up with in your mind, how are you going to protect it? And then if you are doing research and development, so maybe the product is not developed, right? Maybe you're still in the research and development phase. You still need to talk about what your product or service is going to be. Remember that in order to be able to get investors, which is the primary use for a detailed business plan, in order to get funding, they don't need you to have it all figured out all the time. They just need to know what you plan to do. If I give you $10,000, are you able to tell me today what you would do with $10,000? Even if you want to go for loans, grant, it doesn't matter what type of funding you decide to go after. They want this business plan, and even if you don't have it all figured out, they just need to know what you are going to do with the money when we give it to you, okay? So let's move on to marketing. I literally have like 1 minute left in my time, so I'm going to go through this very quickly. All right, I'm going to go through this very quickly, guys. So please just try to keep up. Yes.
Hey, right here, do not go through this quickly, because this area right here, I think for a lot of people where they get stuck, which is that
Okay.
once they figured out who they're targeting, all that kind of stuff, it's okay, how am I going to make my money? So this part, yeah.
Okay. All right. So Genesis has given me, I was trying to be obedient at the time, y'all. I'm an obedient person. Okay. So what I want to do then is I'm actually going to skip this part and come back to it. I want to finish the other part and then we can spend some time on this. So let me see, let me go back. Okay, so another thing that you want to include as a part of your business plan when you are ready is a funding request. So in this example, Rebecca does not have a funding request because she wasn't looking for funding, right? That's not what she was looking for. But if you are using your business plan to get funding, then you need to have a funding request and outline your requirements. So your goal with the funding request section is to be able to clearly explain how much funding you'll need over the next 5 years and what you are going to use it for. I just talked about that, okay? So all they need to see is why are you asking us for $10,000? So whenever you go to do a funding request, and with your business plan, you can put your funding request at the very end. As a matter of fact, I would recommend that, right? And one of the reasons why I recommend it is so that they can see your plan before they see what you're asking for, but also so that you can edit that piece for every funding request without having to mess up the format of the rest of the document. So put the funding request at the end. So again, outline how much funding you will need over the next 3 to 5 years and what you will use it for. You also need to specify some things like, do you want debt or equity, right? So do you want someone to give you money, okay, in exchange for them owning a portion of your company? Or do you want to take on a loan? You need to figure out what type of funding it is that you want. The terms that you would like applied. If you ask someone for $100,000 as an investor, how much of your company will they own? I want $100,000 and you'll own 10% of my company. So 10% of everything that comes through that door goes back to your investor. Okay, so specify whether you want debt or equity, the terms that you'd like to have apply, and the length of time your request will cover. So you might need to say, I want you to invest $100,000 over the next 2 years for a return of 10% of all sales, profits, because there's a difference between sales and profit, right? So you need to think about that. Genesis and I, we were just having this conversation yesterday, having a conversation about like sales and profits and all of that and some of the things that we're working on and, you know, just really breaking down the numbers of the projects that we are working on. And the first thing that we have to do is deduct expenses. It's not free for us to do this. Even though this webinar was free for you all, we had to pay to be able to host the amount of people who we needed to host on this platform. Okay, so it was free for you, but somebody had to pay for it. Those are the type of things. So when we look at our numbers, if we decide to do something for free, how much will we need to come out of pocket for? These are the questions that you need to look at when you are doing funding requests, because maybe you say, okay, I'm going to an investor. I want to ask the investor for $100,000 over the next 2 years for a return of 10% of our profit. So that means that after all of the business expenses are done, they get 10% of what is left over. Okay, or maybe it's 10% of all sales. So that means that instead of them getting after business expenses have been covered, they are one of the business expenses. Okay, so you need to think about that with funding requests, especially if you're asking for a loan or if you're asking for someone to invest in your company. So let's do financial projections, and then we're going to get back to marketing. So financial projections is one of the last sections of your business plan. And again, Rebecca does not have a financial projections section because she was not going for funding. But in case you are, I do want to talk about that. So you need to supplement your funding request with financial projections. Your goal is to be able to convince the reader that your business is stable and will be a financial success. So if you are asking an investor for $100,000 over the next 2 years in exchange for 10% of all sales, they need to know that you're even going to be able to make back. Forget the 100,000. Can you make back double that? Can you make triple that? Yes.
Hey, someone just said on the screen, the executive summary is still there.
Yes, because Rebecca does not have a financial section on hers. So we don't have it in this template. I'm just explaining to you all.
Oh, God, yeah. So Tiffany's breaking this down further than what's there. Okay, thank you, Tiff, for clarifying.
Yes, yep. So I'm just taking it a little bit further. Rebecca's is real cute. As a matter of fact, let me, I can probably bring my video back in. That'll probably help eliminate some of that confusion. Okay, so Rebecca's is real cute, but Rebecca wasn't asking for any money. So I want to be able to help you all if you're asking for money. So again, with the financial projections, this supplements the financial, the funding request rather that you have within your business. So people who are investing in you or giving you a loan, they need to know that you're not only going to make back the 100,000, but that you also need to be able to make back whatever it is that you need to run the business. So you need to make their $100,000 back. And then you need to make the money back to be able to sustain the business the long term. So if your business is already established, you want to be able to include some income statements, balance sheets, all of these financial documents that will send you into a tizzy. None of these things matter if you are not going for a funding request. So if you're not going for a funding request, then you don't have to worry about financial projections and all of that. But if you are, those are the things that you need to include, and you need to schedule one of those sessions with an accountant to help you, okay? So I'm gonna go back to just sharing my screen, okay? So on the screen, we are going to talk about marketing and sales, okay? And if at any point you all lose access to this, please, to the marketing and sales thing, please let me know. So one of the things that we are going to be sending out to you is a guide that I created. It is a 27-page guide, and it's called Small Business Guide to Big Business Marketing, okay? Small Business Guide to Big Business Marketing, and it's a practical guide to help you market your business like the business giants, okay? So most of the people who are watching this webinar right now, you are small business owners, and you want to know how to market like Walmart, Target, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Fashion Nova, some of the big name brands, the household names that you know about. You want to know how to market like them. And I'm going to teach you all some of the marketing strategies that you can use in order to be able to make sales within your business. So when we're talking about marketing and sales, you need to understand that there is not one single way to approach a marketing strategy. I like to try a bunch of different strategies for any given idea or project, okay? I like to try a bunch of different strategies. And then as a business owner, a lot of time is spent just throwing things up against the wall and hoping that they stick, okay? Throwing things up against the wall and hoping that they stick. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, right? So, you know, with that being said, can you all see the, let me see something. Okay. All right, so I just want to make sure that you all see the small business plan. Okay, the sample business plan. Okay, so one of the things that I want you all to remember, though, is that there is no single way to approach marketing. Your strategy should evolve as you journey through business. Your strategy should evolve. It should get better. It should get more complex and in more detail. Okay. It should change to fit your unique needs. So don't pigeonhole yourself thinking that you only need to try one way of marketing. Okay. So your goal in this section of the business plan is to describe how you are going to attract and retain your ideal customer. How are you going to draw them in, and how are you going to keep them? You also need to be able to describe exactly how a sale is going to happen. Okay, so that when you make those financial projections, you will be able to walk the reader through how someone comes into contact with your company and how they end up spending money. Today, we call those sales funnels, okay? So all you're doing as a part of the marketing section is that you want to talk about how it is that you are going to move any given person from point A to point B. How do you move them from the point of hearing about your company to actually spending money with your company? So in order for Rebecca to grow her business, what she wanted to do is to network at various conferences, establish a company website that had engaging content that made people want to pay attention and to, look at what she's doing and what they're doing. And then eventually, right, as the business grows, that's what people want to see when they're looking at these business plans. My marketing budget is sometimes thousands of dollars a month, and sometimes it is $0 a month. It depends on what I'm working on, right? Sometimes I have a huge marketing budget. Sometimes I have a small one of maybe $100. And then other times I don't have a marketing budget at all. It's all free marketing and free social media content, whatever I need to create, right? So you need to develop a growth strategy about what you are going to do right now and what you are going to do in the future, okay? You also need to talk about how you're going to communicate with the customer. So you're going to communicate with the customer by meeting with local managers. So that means that you have to get from behind the computer. I'll be completely transparent with you all. Genesis and I were having a conversation last week. I'm, crying to her, being a baby about some stuff. And she made me put on my big girl panties and says, you got to go see the people. And I said, I know I have to go see the people, but I'm really comfortable behind my computer screen. She says, do you want to be paid or you want to be comfortable? I said, okay, I'm going to step from behind the computer screen. I'm going to go see the people, meet with people, okay? Meet with them. You also, Rebecca said she wanted to use social media. That is definitely a form of marketing. She also wanted to make sure that she had accurate contact information on the company website. If I could throw something at Rebecca right now and tell her thank you, I would tell her thank you. You must provide contact information on the company website. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I go to a website and I have to search from here to Africa for the phone number or an email address or some business hours. I need something. I need to know something, okay? So make sure that you provide that contact information on your website. Now, you also want to talk about how it is that you are actually going to sell, okay? So there might be one person in charge of sales, and if you're a solopreneur, guess what? That person is you, okay? And then Rebecca said as profits increase, they're going to look to add an employee who can assist with the account management and coordination, who will also be responsible for some sales, who will be responsible for assisting the primary person, some social media marketing, online marketing, going out to trade shows, that this person is going to help to continue to grow the company. So I want to talk about some marketing strategies or some types of marketing that you all can do. And again, this guide is going to be sent to you, so don't worry if you don't see it on your screen. We're going to send this guide to you. So one way that you can market is called account-based marketing, okay? Account-based marketing. And what account-based marketing does is targets customers who have a particular type of account. So with one of my clients, she's a realtor. When we send out email marketing campaigns, sometimes we send campaigns to everyone on the list. Sometimes we send campaigns to people who are looking to buy. Sometimes we send campaigns to people who are looking to sell. Sometimes we send campaigns to people who are looking to invest in real estate. And sometimes we send campaigns solely to individuals who are other realtors, right? That she's working on forming a community of realtors. So we send them emails and pretty much tell them how to be the best realtor that they can possibly be. That is account-based marketing, which means that depending on what type of account this person has with my company, it depends on the type of content and marketing that they are going to receive. That is also called segmentation. Okay, so segmenting your market. Another type of accounting is called another type of marketing is called call to action marketing, okay? Call to action marketing. Call to action marketing is a type of marketing that is given to online marketing material that prompts someone to take a specific action. I talk to my clients about this all the time. We are not posting on social media just for the sake of posting on social media. Everything that you do should influence someone or make them do something. So sometimes on my personal social media page, I may just post a photo of my family and I do that because I want people to know that I'm real, that they can relate to me, that I have real experiences just like they do. Sometimes there may be a call to action attached to it. Most times there is not. But what I'm doing, I'm not just posting that just because I want to show off my family and our latest vacation. I want to show people that when you follow my strategies, you can spend a Wednesday morning having breakfast with your mother in Baltimore, okay? And then drive back to Philadelphia. That you can take a vacation wherever you desire to go in the world and you don't have to get the time approved. That's what I'm showing people is the lifestyle that you can have when you apply the strategies or what I offer. When you utilize the services and products that I offer, it will help you to create this type of lifestyle, okay? Or I may put a post up there and do, a 60-minute strategy session for $60. The call to action is go to TiffanyGillespie.com, click the link and register, sign up, enroll, whatever I want to say, to get your strategy session with me at more than a 50% discount, right? So that is a call to action. You are giving them something specific to do in order to be able to participate in what it is that you are promoting. I'm going to give one more example of a type of marketing, and then we're going to open up the floor for questions, okay? So another type of marketing that you can do, we know about Facebook, social media, all of that. But another type of marketing that you can do is called geographic marketing. So geographic marketing is very straightforward. Geo-marketing involves using geographical intelligence within a marketing campaign. So if you have been properly collecting data, and you can go to your insights on Instagram, it's a very simple thing. So if you have a business profile, and I'm going to Instagram right now, if you have a business profile on Instagram, your page is set up as a business profile, what you're going to do is click to go to your profile page, okay? Hopefully, I don't know if you all can see that, but click to go to your profile page. At the very top, it's going to tell you how many profile visits you've had in the last 7 days. Click on that, and it's going to take you to your insights. You're going to be able to see things like who's interacted with your profile, How many people have discovered your profile? What type of feedback are you getting on your content? So, you know, did your stories, did they get a lot of views? Did your posts, you know, which post got the most likes that particular week? You can also find out information about your audience, okay? So for me, the top cities for this particular page are Philadelphia, Baltimore, New York, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C. So what that means is that when I am marketing and thinking about where I want to position my efforts and where I want to position my marketing dollars, it's going to be focused on flooding these markets with the products that I am trying to promote, okay? So I'm really going to be pushing it in Philadelphia, Baltimore, New York, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C. The countries, right, that I focus on, of course, is primarily the United States, but also Nigeria and the United Kingdom. So if I look at this and say, you know what, I obviously have a lot of traction in the United States, I want to beef up my traction in Nigeria and the United Kingdom. When I go to do Facebook ads or Instagram ads, maybe I only do an ad that appeals to my market in Nigeria. Maybe I only do an ad that appeals to my market in the United Kingdom. My United States crew, they're good. That's the bulk of where, you know, my geographical audience is coming in geographically, right? So if I want to beef up a particular area through geographic marketing, I can use my insights and my numbers to help me figure out where I need to position my dollars so that I am not wasting money, okay? Geographic marketing is based on facts and statistics and helps lower the risk of your marketing campaign failing, okay? So I hope that I was able to help you all. We have about 10 or 15 minutes to take questions, okay? I believe that we have about 10 to 15 minutes to take questions. All right. So let's go ahead and bring those questions in. If you have any questions about anything that I taught about, anything that Genesis taught about, now is kind of our execution time, our mastermind time, where we can help you with those specific questions. I'm so grateful. I'm really grateful that this has been really helpful for you all. Okay. So I see, how do we know what type of accountant to use? So you need to find an accountant who specializes in small business, okay? Or an accountant who specializes in your industry. So for example, my very first accountant helped people who were self-employed, but at the time, she was really focused on people who were making six figures or more. At the time that I was working with her, I was not making six figures. So what that meant was I needed to find someone who better catered to my level and who could help me position my company from a financial standpoint to grow to the next level, okay? So I had to figure out, you know, do my research. I asked around, I asked other people, and they recommended a wonderful accountant to me who I absolutely love. And as I have grown, she's still been with me because we just have that kind of connection. Now, if at some point my business outgrows her level of expertise or, you know, she's no longer a good fit, I will find another accountant, but you need to find someone specific to your industry. If you make a certain salary, you need to find an accountant who specializes in working with that level of income. Not every accountant knows how to manage and find the loopholes for people, the tax loopholes for people who make six figures or multiple six figures. If they don't, you could end up paying a lot of money simply because the person does not know. Okay? If you are in the beauty industry, you need someone who knows all of the write-offs that you can take and the ones that you can't, making sure that you don't write off too much and end up putting yourself in a bind, okay? The same thing. If you work, my stepdad is in law enforcement. He had to get a different accountant from the one that my mother has because of his income, and also because he needs someone who knows what he can write off as a law enforcement officer. Okay, so those are the things that are important to understand. You all are very welcome. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure that you all stick around, though. Don't log out. Don't log out. We're going to make our offer. We want to tell you all about something really special that we're doing in just a few minutes. What is the difference between, oh Lord. Gigi, do you know the answer to this question?
Sure.
What is the difference between trademarking, copywriting, and getting a patent for things? I get them mixed up, and I don't want to get you all messed up. So if you know the difference, G, can you tell them? While she prepares to give her answer, the one thing that I will say is sit with an attorney, okay? Just do a short little consultation, okay? You can walk yourself through the process, but if you have questions, please ask the experts. Gigi and I are not attorneys, okay? We are not accountants, okay? We probably should have made that disclaimer at the beginning of the webinar, but we're doing it now. Listen, and if our attorneys were watching, we would probably get in trouble for not making that disclaimer at the beginning of this webinar. So, Gigi, if you can answer that question, that would be great.
Sure. So let's break down the difference, okay? So number one, trademarking is for basically it's for brand names or slogans. Okay, so it is basically where you are basically marking the trade name, trade slogan, what you're going to use for purposes for the public, right? So like if you come with a name, but it's never promoted, it literally no one's going to see it unless it's like on an invoice or in an email name. That's no. Trademarking is basically when you're trademarking a company that is going to be out to the public. It could be a title of a book that becomes a brand. It could be the name of a lotion that you sell, but basically it needs to be it's marking the things that will mark the brand, that will make it what it is, right? So what do we trademark? We trademark names, we trademark slogans, we can also trademark designs. So you can trademark your logo, right? You can trademark anything that's going to basically be the distinguishing factor of a brand, right? What this does is that it protects someone from basically trying to steal your look, your name, your slogan, right? And in trademarking, you trademark by the class. So when I work, for instance, my company, Glam Print Go, we do product development. So a lot of times my clients, they have to get their names trademarked before we start working, or like, let's say I'm working with an e-commerce client that's doing t-shirts. So they may have to trademark a few of their unique sayings that is not being sold all over the world. So they're trademarking so that if someone sees their design, competition or someone, they say, oh, I'm going to use their slogan, or I want to use their, I like their logo, I'm going to copy their logo. When it's trademark, when you trademark, and these are separate, your brand name is that's different. That's different than trademarking your design. So for instance, Target, their name, first of all, y'all know the bullseye, right? They've trademarked that unique design, right? They've trademarked the name, Target, right? Even though it's a very generic name, but they've trademarked it so that someone else cannot come out with basically selling merchandise and call themselves Target. Right? Same thing with, we can also look at Dove, because you can also have a trademark that's in two different classes. So a class is basically how that trademark will be used. For instance, there's Dove there's the Dove that specializes in body wash and skincare, right? Then there's the Dove that sells the chocolate, right? Y'all know the chocolate ice cream, right? Dove Magnum, even though I think that's a really inappropriate anyway. But Dove, right? So it's being used for different reasons, right? Just like, for instance, Dove Magnum is also the name of a condom company. I know that went completely left, but anyway, but then it's also ice cream. But they can do that because they're not actually in the same class, right? One is focusing on skincare products, the other one is focusing on food products, right? So when you trademark, you have to pay per class. Okay, and again, I know all this stuff because working in product development, working with my clients make products, I know all this stuff. Okay, now I'm not a lawyer. Because when you file for a trademark, that does not mean that you're going to get approved for a trademark. So you may pay hundreds, usually it's going to be around, I would say starting price for a lawyer to do it is going to be usually around, it can range 600. The one that I suggest is 800. She's $800. I know another woman that starts at 1,200. So it's a serious game. This is why before you get started in business with trademarking, make sure you get some coins, okay? Because it's going to cost you some money. And now again, when you file for a trademark does not mean you're going to get approved, because the office of trademarks can come back and say something else, and then you'll need a lawyer to basically figure all these tangled stuff out. Because when you're not a lawyer, you don't understand lawyer, as I call it, lawyer speak. I don't understand lawyer speak. So I'm like, I can call my lawyer up because I don't know what this means, okay? That's why you need to have a lawyer, okay? So that if, let's say, for instance, I had a client where she had a similar name to another company, so the trademark was not approved. So got to file again, right? So this is why too, working, it's a process. And I'll be honest too, I know also I have clients and also too, people that I know in business, it is a process. Sometimes you really have to fight for a name. Sometimes you're fighting to defend your brand. It just all ranges. Okay, now let's talk about copywriting. Copywriting is protecting the copy. Copy is a marketing term that we use in business that really just means the text. So basically you are protecting copy or text, books, workbooks, copy basically is anything that is music, copywriting music. Okay. So have you guys video content, right? Anything that's copy, text, video. Have you ever, for instance, posted a song online and or maybe you say like on Facebook where they say, well, I don't own the rights to this song, or right, even though that really never works, right? You're actually protecting the copyright because it's protecting whoever wrote the lyrics, the music. That's copywritten. It's copywritten content. Copyrights are also for software, anything like that. That is protecting the copy. So someone can say, oh, well, I own the copyright, okay? So that is basically protecting copy or anything relating to content. Y'all got that? Patents. Patents are for inventions, okay? There are different types of patents. If you've ever watched Shark Tank, I'm not sure you guys ever watched Shark Tank, then you'll notice, sometimes they'll ask questions about like, do you own, what kind of patents do you own? Do you own a provisional patent? Do you own, like, there's just so many different types of patents. But patents are for inventions, okay? There are for inventions. That is a key word. Let me just say that again, inventions. In other words, you invented it. You invented it. Okay. If you didn't make it, you don't own the patent. You can't own a patent. You can't own a patent on something that has already been fleshed out. Now, the difference with the thing about inventions is that you could have found something and made it better, right? And so you're filing a patent for what you made better, not for the whole thing, right? So you can't say, oh, I made the light bulb. Like maybe you made like this really cool light bulb and you're saying, oh, well, now I made a light bulb. Well, no, you made a light bulb. You didn't invent the light bulb. Okay. Right. So a lot of times when you are filing a patent, it's going to be for whatever you actually created. Okay. You can also I wanted to add the copyright to curriculum. If you are someone who is a knowledge-based person and you are going to be selling curriculum, maybe creating curriculum for government, for individuals, for corporations, you need to copyright your curriculum. Okay, that protects you. One of the things, our family, we own private schools and we're about to basically go into multiple locations. And one of the things that we have to do when we're going into like other states or even into other locations, you need to protect your curriculum. So if you have a unique way that you teach children, for instance, we can look at Montessori, core knowledge. There's so many different types of curriculum, period. But for us, when we look at curriculum, you need to copyright that curriculum. So the way that my mother has created a education model that has become proprietary for us, that is very important. That is the secret sauce to our business. As someone who owns schools, I am very familiar with parents coming on tours to get accepted to steal content. You gotta understand that when we talk about content, you need to protect your stuff, okay? Because people, when they see a good product that's working, now in their minds, they think, oh, I'm gonna take it, it's gonna work for us. And of course, they don't know how to really apply it, but someone can still take it, especially if you have not copywritten it. And when you don't copyright it, how are you going to defend it? How can you say, oh, well, so-and-so stole it? Well, did you own it? Did you copyright it? Did you take your whole formula and form it into a curriculum that you can then copyright basically via the government and say, this is our material, this is what it is? Listen, you need to really protect your stuff. And I'm saying this because I am now going through the process of getting our entire business model together, all of our content that my mother has taught for years and our teachers have been teaching. Here's the other thing you need to do too. And this is like a little provision. Okay. When you hire employees, because I'm going to talk about, because I know we're talking about, content. Okay. You need to, number one, this is like a sidebar, but you need to have a non-compete. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Rhonda. You already know where I was going. Listen, we about to talk some CEO boss stuff real quick, because while we're talking,
let's talk about it.
Listen,
okay? And you have it with your friends too. Me and Gigi sign NDAs and contracts and agreements all the time. Okay.
If there are some men watching, they're probably like, this is real girly. But anyway, the point is that you need to understand, right? Listen, you need to understand, especially as a boss, someone who will be hiring other people, that sometimes people turn. Just like a car makes a U-turn because you forgot something at home, sometimes people make a U-turn on a road. You thought that they were going west, but no, now they want to go north, okay? And you want to make sure that you protect the knowledge of your business, right? So one of the things, especially when it's content, like for instance, at a school, right? We could have teachers that could say, oh, I've been teaching this content, I understand how to use it. I'm going to go out here and start my own school. Now, we paid them to teach our method, our ways, right? But they could literally say, oh, wow, it's working. All I got to do is get some more money. I can go out here, take their ideas and go out here and spend them out. Listen, so what do? We make all of our teachers, our staff, anyone who works for us needs to sign a non-compete. Is it that we don't want them to start another school? No, I'm not. You can start any school you want to, daycare, early childhood development center, but you cannot use the model that we use. You cannot go out here, take the same, listen, we've seen parents take our materials home and had to confront them like, wait, hold on, that's a day school book. You can't keep that. So these are things you need to make sure you have. So a non-compete. The other thing though, too, I'm going to say is that when you are working with your staff, making sure that you are watching people. Now, maybe I'm a little triggered, but it's because I've seen a lot of things happen, okay? And when it comes to content, you want to protect. And the reason I'm saying this is because of this. Remember how we said a great business solves a problem? Right? When you're a really good business, the way that you solve a problem becomes almost proprietary, because the way that you do it is unlike other people. So you have to protect the way that you do what you do. Now, some people, they're not special in what they do. No offense. There are daycares and schools and private schools, and they think that there are competition. They're not. They don't do nothing special. They don't solve any problem. They just educate the kids, and kids go home. You got the same kid you had 5 years ago, right? But with us, okay, we need to protect our stuff because we know that it is proprietary. So make sure that you are gathering this. And I know I'm harping on some stuff, but this really is, we talk about the bonus side of this experience. We talk about execution. This is stuff that you have to think about. You definitely have to think about, how are we going to protect ourselves in the future as we move forward, because it is so vital. So I want to talk about, we're going to